Have you ever looked at someone and wondered, how are they doing all that? Because while most of us are just going about our day, there always seem to be just a few people who are doing more. They're learning a new language, working on a side project little by little, reading books, spending time with people they love, and somehow still getting their 8 hours of sleep. It doesn't make any sense. Sometimes it feels like they've got 48 hours in a day, or maybe there's a second version of them handling everything else while they just smile and sip tea. But the truth is, they haven't had 48 hours a day. What they've done is reclaim a part of that day that most of us hand over without even noticing. The evening. Those quiet hours after work silently shape the rest of our life. This video isn't about pushing yourself to be more productive. It's a quiet reminder to pay attention to something we usually ignore. There's a part of your day that feels small, but it has a bigger impact than we think. Because sometimes a few simple choices in the evening can change how everything feels tomorrow. So give yourself just a few quiet minutes to stay with this video. Let's explore together how to make the most of the hours we usually overlook. Not by doing more, but by doing what truly matters in your evening. The quiet loop that steals our evenings. We come home, drop the keys somewhere near the door, loosen our shirt, and tell ourselves we'll just rest for a minute. Maybe scroll for a bit, maybe lie down and think of nothing for a while. Nothing wrong with that. But suddenly it's 9 p.m., the leftovers are still in the microwave, the gym bag we packed in the morning is still sitting by the door, and that online course we promised to finish this week is still paused, exactly where we left it last Sunday. Most of us don't set out to waste the evening, we just fall into it, because by the time we get home, our mind is like a phone running on 2% battery. We've already made so many decisions throughout the day, so we default. We slide into the things that feel familiar and easy. Maybe we browse shopping apps without planning to order anything, or half watch a YouTube video while folding clothes, not really listening, just letting the background noise fill the room. These aren't bad habits, they're gentle ways we try to comfort ourselves when we're low on energy. But over time, they quietly fill the space where something more meaningful could have happened. But the good news is, it doesn't take a full routine or a big change to shift that pattern. Sometimes all it takes is one small moment that tells your mind, this part of the day is different. Sometimes that signal was as simple as turning off the work laptop and physically putting it away, or stepping into the shower and letting the water wash away the noise of the outside world, or dimming the lights and playing a song that reminds us of slower days, just enough to remind our minds that it's allowed to enter a different rhythm now. These tiny habits are a way of telling the brain softly and clearly that the energy we gave away all day can now return, that we don't have to be on anymore. How to split the evening so it doesn't disappear. Let's say you finish work at 6. You get home at 6:30. You eat dinner, maybe scroll on your phone, and then do some chores or just lie on the couch for a bit. Suddenly, it's 10 p.m. And when you look back, you think, wait, what did I even do this evening? This happens to almost everyone. We didn't plan to waste the evening, but somehow it just went by. So I tried something simple. I started splitting my evening into 3 parts to make the most of a few quiet hours. First is a block for recovery. You've spent the whole day thinking, replying, planning, and your brain needs a signal that it's allowed to slow down. For me, that usually means a warm shower, change into some soft clothes. Sometimes I dim the lights or put on a playlist I only use at night. Next comes a block for growth. This doesn't mean pushing yourself to achieve something big after a long day. It just means choosing one small action that reminds you you're still moving. It can be picking up a book you've been meaning to finish, or watching 5 minutes of a course you started months ago. If you're not in the mood to learn, it might just be writing down one thought from your day, something that stood out, or something that's been on your mind. And the third block is for connection. This is when your energy is soft but stable again. Connection could mean calling someone you miss, sitting beside someone you love without any devices between you, or even just writing a message to someone you've been meaning to reach out to. We don't need to be perfect, and we don't have to schedule every minute of our time. Sometimes all it takes is reshaping how we spend our evenings, and suddenly they feel less chaotic and a lot more meaningful. Because the truth is, our evenings don't need to be longer to matter more. They just need a little more care from us. You lose the evening the moment you touch the couch. There's one habit that quietly shapes most of our evenings. It starts with a couch. When you walk through the door and sit down, your brain recognizes the pattern. It says, oh, this is the part where we do nothing. And it's very, very good at repeating what it already knows. So instead of trying to resist the couch, try changing what you do right after getting home. Don't go straight to the couch. Change your destination. If you're at home, step into the bathroom to wash your hands and change into something more comfortable. Or maybe head to the kitchen to drop off the food you picked up on the way home. I had a phase where I walked to the grocery store even if I didn't need anything urgent, just to reset my body and break the pattern. Just the act of doing something slightly different helped break the usual loop. Even if you still end up resting later, the fact that you made an intentional choice before settling down changes how the evening feels. Do something simple, but different, and watch how the energy of your evening starts to shift. What not to do after 8 p.m. Evenings can feel like a reward. Finally, the busy part of the day is done and there's no pressure to be anywhere, reply to anything, or perform. But that calm can be misleading too. Because without noticing, we sometimes let small habits fill the space in ways that leave us more drained than when we started. The first one is endless scrolling. We open a message, check out a post, and suddenly 40 minutes, maybe even an hour has flown by. And if we're being honest, it's not because the content was that great. It's because we got pulled into a loop of quick dopamine hits that's really hard to step away from. The second one is watching too much without being intentional. We sit down to relax, which is completely okay, but instead of choosing something that helps us unwind, we often just let the next video or episode autoplay. And after 2, maybe 3 hours, we don't feel any more refreshed. What we're left with is just a sense of emptiness and disconnect. The third one is bringing work back into the evening. Not just emails, thoughts, to-do lists, and worries about tomorrow. Even if we're not in front of a screen, our mind is still at work. These 3 things seem small, but together they leave us feeling tired, distracted, and disconnected from ourselves. So instead of removing them completely, try this. Choose 1 hour before bed where your brain can rest without input. No screens, no news. You could stretch, listen to music, draw something, or sit and do nothing at all. Because in the end, the most powerful part of your evening is not what you consume, it's what you protect. Sleep well tonight and win tomorrow morning. There's something almost magical about early mornings. When the world is still quiet, that's when your brain is at its sharpest, clear, calm, and ready. It sounds strange, but it's true. Some of the best evenings I've ever had didn't happen in the evening at all. They happened the next morning because I went to sleep early. I used to believe evenings were the only time I had for myself, so I would save my best intentions for after dinner, like writing, planning, thinking, even working on side projects. But every night played out the same way. I'd sit down, open my laptop, try to begin, but within minutes, I'd check my phone, scroll for a bit, and then convince myself that maybe I deserved a break after all. Until one day I just went to bed early and set an alarm for 6. The difference was shocking. At 6 a.m., I wrote more in 30 minutes than I'd usually do in 2 hours at night. So here's the experiment. For 5 days, sleep a little earlier and wake up 30 minutes before you need to. Don't force yourself to be productive. Don't aim for perfection. Just see what your mind feels like before the day begins. You might discover that your most powerful time isn't at the end of the day. It's at the beginning before anyone else arrives. Respect your foundation. We often talk about routines, goals, focus, or discipline, but beneath all of that, there's the state of our body. Let's be honest, it's hard to feel inspired or motivated in the evening if your body is completely out of energy. You can have the best plan, the clearest goals, even a strong evening routine, but if you're always tired, always wired, or always running on caffeine, then no system will truly work. Because your body isn't a machine. This doesn't mean we need to be super fit or eat perfectly. It just means we need to pay attention. A little more sleep, a little more water, a meal that actually gives energy instead of taking it. A short walk after dinner, just to remind the body that it still matters. Most people wait until they're completely burned out before they start taking care of themselves. But evenings are actually the perfect time to restore, to recharge, to slow down and listen. Simple things help more than we think. Dim lights, quiet music, a gentle stretch, drinking something warm instead of grabbing sugar or screens. Because a clear mind lives in a rested body. And a rested body is what makes everything else feel doable. Most of the time, we try to fix our evenings by adding more habits, more plans, more pressure. But sometimes the shift begins with a real meal, a short walk, and sleep that actually restores. Try asking yourself this one question. Did my evening give me back some energy? Or quietly take away the rest? The quietest hours shape the loudest parts of life. Try using your evenings a little differently, just for 10 days. Not forever, not perfectly, just a quiet little experiment. Turn off your work brain with a small ritual. Give yourself a bit of time to recover. Then do one small thing that helps you grow. And finally, connect with someone or something that brings you peace. No pressure, no tracking, just presence. You don't have to change your whole life. But maybe without even trying that hard, your life starts to shift. People might notice. Maybe they'll ask why you seem more focused and more relaxed. Maybe they'll wonder if you secretly have 40 hours in a day. You don't. You've just stopped losing the ones that matter most. Give it 10 days, or 20 if you're curious. See how it feels. And once you feel it, you won't want to go back. If something changes, even just a little, please come back here and share it in the comments. Or tell us what small change made the biggest difference for you. Hit like and subscribe to the channel if you want more videos like this. Thanks for being here.